Welcome everyone to another brand of Flyers After Dark in a game where they completely get dominated throughout the entire thing, but they still find a way to win in the overtime, for God's sakes, over the Seattle Kraken by a score of 3-2. Man, it's been a while since we talked about Flyers hockey. But before we get into all that, welcome back to TTB Sports, everyone. The most important thing you can do is hit that subscribe button. I will greatly appreciate that. So if you're a new viewer to the channel, looking for all your latest Philadelphia sports news, recaps, and events, this is the channel to be at. Win or loss, it's a good or a miserable time depending on the outcome. And if you were a current subscriber to the channel, I am grateful for you being here and looking for you to continue down the road. And also, when we get to the 500 subscriber count, I am planning to do a giveaway, so it entices you to hit that subscribe button. So yeah, definitely click that. So, getting into the business tonight, Flyers After Dark, Flyers hockey. Man, it's been a while since we talked about Flyers hockey. Basically, over a stretch of the entire week, what their last game was, December 18th, that overtime win against the Ottawa Senators. Man, it's been, at least a week and a half at this point, maybe over 2 weeks. I would say more closer to the week and a half point. I think 2 weeks might be stretching it, but it does feel like it's been forever since the last time we saw the Flyers hit the ice. And, you know, this game was not pretty. This game was not pretty at all. I honestly don't even think the Flyers deserve to win this game. They did not, let alone get this game to overtime, but they somehow find a way. They did. JVR getting 2 goals. Martin Jones, I believe, had a fantastic game, and you also got that beautiful pass by Kevin Hayes in the overtime to finish up a beautiful goal by Ivan Provorov to seal the game off in OT against the Seattle Kraken team. The Flyers' first visit in franchise history to Seattle, so they beat Dave Hakstol twice this year, which does feel very nice. But still, this game. I don't even know how to explain it, because it was just bad. It was a very, very, very boring hockey game, in my honest opinion. Even though Seattle dominated the Flyers, I would say throughout 45, 50 minutes of this game, it kind of felt like a lot of Seattle chances weren't that dangerous, if you know what I mean. A lot of stuff was kept to the outside, but they still remained possession. They still controlled. The Flyers struggled to get it out of the zone, but it was still very boring, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't know how to describe it. I think basically the entire thing I'm trying to describe was this game was boring as fuck. That's how it is. And there's nothing worse than a very boring hockey game, in my honest opinion. There just isn't. But I guess thankfully you could say this team won, and they still extend their point streak to 6 games. And they're now 5-0-1 in their last 6 games, so the Flyers are on a little bit of a winning stretch, which is still nice to see. But this game just wasn't good. It just wasn't. But yes, you can credit. Okay, you're off that long layoff with the holiday break plus the COVID stoppage with the league. So yes, there's definitely going to be some rust involved on both sides, but Seattle kind of didn't look like they have rust on it, so there's maybe one excuse out the window. But then you can also throw in, okay, the Flyers are going through a little bit of a COVID problem themselves, where some players went on COVID, they came off COVID, now they have 5 players in total in COVID protocol. So maybe you can describe it to that, because there are some important players that are in COVID right now. Scott Laughton and Sean Couturier are one of the 2 more important ones. Carter Hart as well. I would put more Derek Brassard, even though he's been a main factor in the lineup this season. He hasn't played in the past, like, I would say month at this point, because he's just been injured. So right now I wouldn't consider that as big of a blow, just because he's already been out for so long. Same thing for Ryan Ellis. The man has only played 4 or 5 games this season, so honestly him being on COVID protocol is the least of our worries at this point. But really the major blow points besides Carter Hart are Sean Couturier and Scott Laughton, because right now your best center on basically this team right now is Kevin Hayes, even though you consider Claude Giroux that, but more, you know, he still alternates between the wing and center position. But yeah, you're missing Sean Couturier, you're missing Scott Laughton, filling out that center depth there. So yes, that's basically your top 2 centers are Kevin Hayes and Morgan Frost, and then you also implemented Claude Giroux right there. So yeah, you also bring up Mayhew from Lehigh Valley. You got Felix Sandstrom backing up Martin Jones, which honestly, with the way Martin Jones had, you know, all the stuff that he had to face today, Does Mike Yeo consider not putting Jones in the net tomorrow against San Jose because it's a very quick turnaround, a little under 24 hours before the Flyers play tomorrow night in San Jose? I know tomorrow would have been a really good night to play Martin Jones just because it's his first game back in San Jose since leaving in free agency, but with what he faced tonight, does Mike Yeo consider going Felix Sandstrom tomorrow? And also, it does have to consider when Carter Hart does eventually come off COVID protocol, and I'm not sure if he's going to come off of it eventually because he was put on there at the beginning of the week. And I think now with the NHL, if you do test positive, you have to, I think they did decrease the wait period to 5 days, I believe, but I don't think with Carter Hart's standpoint right now, I don't think he's been on COVID protocol for 5 days, and I'm assuming he's one of the guys that tested positive because remember, before this even happened, he was sick with a non-COVID related illness, so maybe that did develop into COVID, and he was feeling those type of symptoms. But yeah, there are definitely many factors into probably why they played the way they did, because, you're playing guys like May, you were playing guys like Jackson Cates, and, well, Jackson Cates wasn't playing in the lineup, Max Woolman was, and Max Woolman honestly didn't look that bad. He was one of the better forwards on the ice tonight, but still, just... it was ugly. It was really ugly, but the Flyers do get the first goal of the game early on. They get a power play, and they don't take that long to cash in on that. Claude Giroux with a nice feed into the slot to JVR. That's the first time I've ever seen that, JVR in the slot with a one-timer, basically recreating Braden Shen and Scott Hartnell in that office. Puts the Flyers up 1-0. And for Claude Giroux on that assist to James Van Riemsdyk, that is his 600th career assist, and that is his 884th career point, which puts him second all-time in Flyers franchise history, passing Bill Barber for all-time points in Flyers history. So Claude Giroux, with some nice competition in Flyers history, puts him up at one of the best Flyers, goes into second place, and now he's behind Bobby Clark, where I know Bobby Clark has like over 1,200 points. So I don't think Claude Giroux at this state of his career is going to reach that plateau where Bobby Clark was, but still, that's a great place to be in for G. He's really close to getting to the 900-point plateau. He's basically 16 points away, and he's definitely going to reach that by the time this season ends, and who knows how much longer it's going to take him to get to that 1,000-point plateau. But I think that's a discussion for another day, because with this Flyers team, my thoughts, you already know my thoughts. I don't think this team is good enough. I don't think this team is good enough to make the playoffs, and who knows if Claude Giroux is going to be a part of that future. It's a whole other discussion for another day. I don't want to get into that because, the Flyers won this game. So, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that today. So, JVR gets the 1-0 goal, and then basically Seattle takes the game from there. They control. They get a power play. The Flyers really don't get any chances, but they do get a 2-on-1 chance with Willman and Farabee, but they really can't connect on this 2-on-1. But then eventually, Seattle sets up on this power play. Yanni Gourde with a one-timer on the right side ties the game up at 1, and it was basically Seattle the rest of the way through. The Flyers do get a couple of power plays throughout the pace of the game. They can't do anything on it. Basically, after that first power play, the rest of the power plays looked goddamn awful, and the Flyers did take a couple of other penalties throughout this game, and they did hold Seattle off on the penalty kill, so I'll give him that. But basically, that entire second period, my goodness, was controlled by Seattle. Basically, since the JVR goal in the first period, you can say from the rest of the first period, the entire second period, and even stages in that third period were all controlled by Seattle. And that's basically how little chances the Flyers had. There's really nothing to talk about in that second period because nothing happened. It didn't happen. So, second period, Flyers sucked. Seattle dominated. That is basically the entire summary. I know I'm saying basically a lot, but basically, it's what happened. So, you go into that third period. Seattle, once again, dominates. And then, I think this is a little, I would say, closer to the halfway point in this period. Seattle, once again, dominating in the offensive zone. Flyers can't clear it out. They're struggling to go through the neutral zone. Seattle possesses in the Flyers zone. They get a shot on net from Lauzon. I think this is who it is at this point. So, it goes by Martin Jones. So, eventually, at this point, it becomes 2-1. But then you see a little collision in the front of the net. Martin Jones complaining to the referee, hey, where's the goaltender interference at? So, you see on the replay, and this was very questionable. I was very surprised that this happened. So, the Flyers challenge for goaltender interference. And the call actually does get reversed. So, the goal does get taken away. when you see on the replay, I can see both sides, but I'm still more on the side that maybe this goal shouldn't have been reversed. So you see Jaden Schwartz coming up from behind the net with Travis Sanheim. I don't think Travis Sanheim had any impact on this play at all. Schwartz does get into the crease. He does bump into Martin Jones as the puck is coming towards the net, not really allowing him to set up for the shot. But on the replay, it also does kind of look like the puck is already past Jones just as Schwartz is getting to him. But like I said, I can see both sides of the argument, so questionable in my honest opinion. It definitely is, but the call does get reversed. It's a 1-1 game after that still. Seattle still does continue to dominate, and eventually Lauzon does get that go-ahead goal and becomes a 2-1 Kraken lead. But then that lead really does not last at all. 15 seconds later, the Flyers control in the offensive zone. A nice pass from Travis Sanheim over to James Van Riemsdyk, and I think this is a terrible goal by Phil Grubauer to allow, and it ties the game up at 2. JVR's second of the game. And I was just like, okay, I was seeing basically with the way Seattle was playing the entire way, even though the Flyers were getting dominated, it was 1-1 throughout majority of the contest. This game had overtime written all over it. And once Seattle scored, I was like, okay, the Flyers are most likely going to tie this game because the hockey gods are the hockey gods, and that's what they decide. This game was going to overtime, and that's what happened. So we go to overtime. And I would say a little early on in the overtime, the Flyers get the possession. They turn the puck over a couple of times. Seattle gets one good chance by Jordan Eberle. And the Flyers, they possess the rest of the way. They get a line change. Kevin Hayes with a beautiful feed up the ice. The Ivan Provorov does a little nifty dangles and deeks, and he beats Phil Grubauer. Basically broke his ankles at that point, and he wins the game by a score of 3-2. And Ivan Provorov does his little traditional bow and arrow celebration, so we really haven't seen that a little bit from Provi. So 3 stars of this game. First star, Ivan Provorov. Second star, James Van Riemsdyk. And third star, Martin Jones. Martin Jones, I feel like, is the more underrated player in this game. He was the main reason why the game was 1-1 for majority of this contest. Shots on goal, 36-22 in favor of Seattle. No surprise there. Flyers win in faceoff percentage, 53%. Both teams go 1 for 3 on the power play. Physical game, 20 hits to 13 in favor of the Flyers, 11 block shots to 9 in favor of the Flyers as well. There were a lot of turnovers in this game as well. Shots on goal for period, basically the first 2 where it showcases where Seattle dominated. 12 shots to 6 in the first in favor of Seattle, 11 shots to 5 in favor of Seattle in the second, and then the Flyers actually had the shot total edge in the third, 10-9, which was very surprising. And the lone shot for the Flyers in the overtime was the goal by Ivan Provorov. It was 4 shots to 1 in favor of the Flyers and in favor of Seattle in the overtime. So that was actually surprising. I did not realize that from that point. So bad game, really bad game. I don't think the Flyers deserve to win it, but in the end, they do win. So I guess there's a bright spot. My God. Flyers After Dark. That is a very interesting specimen, if I do say so myself. My goodness. Flyers hockey is back after a little bit, and this is what we saw. Hopefully it gets better. Hopefully it does. But looking at the upcoming schedule, you got Seattle tomorrow, basically on a short rest, back-to-back. So I'm not sure what's going to happen tomorrow with the goalie situation after what Martin Jones faced tonight. Is Mike Yeo going to go with Felix Sandstrom starting tomorrow? I am not sure, because the rest of this road trip, you got San Jose tomorrow, 10:30. You got Saturday, 10:30 in Los Angeles, New Year's Day. And then you got next Tuesday in Anaheim to wrap up the road trip at 10 p.m. So this Western Californian road trip, basically after Seattle, it goes into your California road trip. I really shouldn't be saying Western California, because California is already in the West Coast. So, there goes my geography right there, lesson right there. But yeah, Flyers get the 2 points. I guess in the end, that's all that matters, but this game was shitty. It definitely was, and I want to hear your thoughts on this shitty game, so don't forget to leave those comments in the comment section below. I would like to hear those as always. Do not forget to leave a like on this video. Do not forget to check out the Painted Lines, which I'm a part of. Their links are down in the description below. Also, don't forget to check out the links to BrodesMedia, the Flyer.pod merch website, and also Flyers Nitty Gritty. All that good stuff is down in the description below. Do not forget to check those out. And like I said at the beginning of the video, the most important thing you can do is hit that sub button. I will greatly appreciate that. 500 subs, I'll do a giveaway. Definitely hit that sub button, and I will see you next time.